This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and MNow Biscuits.
Tuberculosis cases on the rise. COVID-19 funds questioned. And Paul Paraka bail application refused. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Malcolm Waira. Thank you for joining us. The World Health Organization has revealed a rise in tuberculosis cases in PNG, indicating that 5,000 TB patients are dying on a yearly basis. This was revealed today at a news conference held in Port Moresby in light of the World Tuberculosis Day.
In commemorating the World Tuberculosis Day, World Health Organization country representative Dr. Chala Ruda gave an insight on how tuberculosis is affecting citizens, indicating that the country is on the 30th place in the world with the highest cases of TB.
Over 4,500 people are dying from TB every year in this country. And as we all know, TB is a preventable disease, it is a treatable disease, and it's also a curable disease. However, we are losing 5,000 people every single year in this country. This is a tragic news.
Dr. Ruda emphasized that everyone has to take TB seriously and take heed of the awareness. He also revealed that there is hope to counterfight the outbreak in the country.
It's possible through high-level leadership, concerted efforts, increased investments, and faster uptake of new WHO-recommended tools for prevention of TB, for testing of TB, for treatment and care of TB.
Dr. Ruda stated upon report that TB remains the #1 cause of infectious death in PNG, making history in 2024. He further stated this year they intend to take action to end TB.
Ensuring that national targets and commitments to end TB in Papua New Guinea are realized. We aim to extend life-saving TB prevention and care services to over 37,000 individuals afflicted with TB.
Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
Following the tuberculosis outbreak in the nation's capital, the National Department of Health, in collaboration with other development partners, held the first TB awareness program in Ward 7 suburb of the Northeast Electorate.
Community leader of the Hohola suburb, Ward 7, Susan Dabunaba, gave an insight of the week-long TB outreach conducted and elaborated on the significance of this awareness program.
What's happening behind my background is an initiative by the National Health Department, the NCDC SSI, Systematic Screening Intervention Team, which is going around to communities as an emergency tuberculosis response project. They bring in service right to our doorstep to help our community and our people to prevent, test and treat right on the spot.
She further shared that the first initial arrangement was to set up in the Ben Speaks quarters and explains the change in the venue for the awareness program.
Due to overcrowdedness, they brought the site down to where we are, just along the freeway.
Mrs. Dabunaba expressed gratitude to the NDOH TB program that had commenced awareness on Monday.
So I'm appealing to all the residents around Ward 7. When you see the team of the NCDC go out, the Watete group and the COP security that are escorting them, and I thank NDOH, National Department of Health, and the team, the TB team that's out here.
Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
Shadow Minister for Health and Police Johnson Wapunai has called on the Police Commissioner and former COVID-19 pandemic controller David Manning and Prime Minister James Marape to explain to the people and the foreign development partners on where the final pandemic report is 3 years on.
In a statement, Johnson Wapunai stated that, according to leading accounting firms like KPMG, the country received a total of 1.5 billion kina in foreign assistance from the IMF, ADB and World Bank in 2020, with 500 million kina received from the IMF in particular. He added that these are significant amounts of money given by international organizations. It is of absolute importance that the state acquits and accounts for these funds to maintain the country's reputation internationally. Wapunai questioned when will Mr. Manning furnish the report on how the monies were spent by the National Control Center based at Marape House, because it has been 3 years since the pandemic. The shadow minister stressed that it is now risking the country's reputation with the donors, as they have recently learned that the government has breached its promise to the IMF to furnish a final report on the 500 million kina obtained for COVID-19, due on December 31st last year. He called on the Prime Minister to provide some clarity on this situation before they further embarrass the nation for failing to conduct basic diligence. Mr. Wapunai concluded by stating that Mr. Manning needs to be accountable for his role as controller, as it was an unprecedented responsibility that no other police commissioner has had. In the interest of transparency and good governance, Mr. Manning should step aside to give a certainty to public position he holds and dispel concerns of coercion in this audited report. Louis Maingu, National EMTV News.
The president for the Port Moresby Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Rio Fioko, gave an update on the awaited government relief package to businesses affected on January 10th at a recent business breakfast. Mr. Fioko stated that 14 million kina out of the total relief package has been established. A warrant for the package has been signed off by former Treasurer Ian Lingstaki and awaits State Solicitor's clearance on opening of the trust account.
POMCCI President Rio Fioko made this statement.
Amount of about 14 million kina has almost been established. They're just waiting for the State Solicitor's clearance on the opening of that trust account, and they're hoping to get that clearance today. President Ian and Ernie Gangloff have been working very hard following up with the Chief Secretary on the establishment of that trust account.
Mr. Fioko stated he was advised that the government's approach is centered on workers affected and this scheme will last for 6 months.
The government scheme is that they will pay 500 kina per fortnight for all those employees who no longer have a supermarket or a shop to go to work at. And if the businesses don't have any work for those people, in other words, they can't redeploy them somewhere else, then they'll be asked to go along to work at City Hall and the NCD will find them jobs.
President Fioko also stated that POMCCI is pushing hard for the government to reconsider NEC decision on the 14th of February for the 250 million kina relief package by way of loans to business houses affected. He stated that many of these businesses have affirmed that they were not the cause of the January 10th riots, however have lost a total of about 800 million kina.
So if the government doesn't satisfactorily resolve these matters, then it's likely that legal action will follow from those affected businesses, and that of course will mean loss of profits will be claimed along with legal fees and interests and costs, etc., etc.
The president also affirmed that in further discussions, the government has agreed to look at making additional 500 million kina for rebuilding at the interest rate of 5%, Insurance Commissioner to look into setting up insurance cover for the future, and the government is most likely to have a supplementary budget in May. Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister James Marape has begun discussions with several international fuel traders and suppliers to secure a steady fuel supply market for PNG. This announcement was made upon his return from a 2-day visit to Singapore, where discussions were held with Puma Energies and various other potential suppliers.
Prime Minister James Marape met with Australia's largest fuel supplier, Ampol, in Brisbane before travelling to meet with Sinopec of Singapore and PetroChina of China to discuss fuel alternatives for PNG.
That's about it. I want to indicate my return from Singapore this morning, all in the business of trying our very best to have fuel secured from alternate sources. We just can't be dependent on one supplier, one source for too long, but in that conversation, we had frank and open conversation with Puma.
Emphasizing on the country's need to a diverse supply of fuel, he highlighted open conversations had with Puma Energies in Singapore, revealing Puma Energy is unwilling to leave the country.
Minister for Petroleum, in his role as the emergency minister, they put straight to them what was Puma's plan. Puma did indicate that they don't intend to move out of the country. It is a forex and banking issue, and they want to remain in business. We were transparent with them. We said, you can remain in business, but we're also looking at other alternates to ensure we have fuel security in our country. Our interest is not to be in the business of fuel supply. Government's interest is in the area of fuel security for our country.
PM Marape reiterated plans to collaborate with Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited and the Mineral Resources Development Company. These partnerships aim to secure a stable fuel supply for the nation and ensure that the country gets the correct price, quality and reliability in future to avoid predicament PNG is experiencing with Puma Energy. Francisca Anania, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister James Marape has stood up to justify why his government has increased the number of cabinet ministers. He said it was necessary due to the increase in the workload in the different sectors and the need for political oversight to ensure work is done.
Despite the criticisms from the opposition and the public over the increase in ministries, Marape says the ratio of the number of parliamentarians to ministers is within the requirements.
Some may be complaining that the cabinet is too bloated. Far from it, it is not bloated. Consistently, one-third requirement that one-third of our members of parliament can be cabinet ministers. Today, in a parliament that is capped at 118, and with 126 seats to be the seat of parliament after next elections.
He also said the inefficiency of public servants also prompted the need to have ministerial oversight in the different sectors.
Inefficient public servants we have, sadly, to put in this word inefficient, but we need the political oversight directly on top of the lead of different responsibilities to ensure that work gets pushed.
He further said the workload under some ministries is immense, hence they had to be split, citing the Department of Agriculture and Livestock as an example.
And so in the split, we just put a minister directly oversight of key result areas we want to be achieved. That's why we split petroleum from energy. That's why we split 2 or 3 other ministries from.
He then highlighted that the separation of ministries has always happened since independence to cater for the increased need in undertaking development tasks.
When the country is growing, when the expansion is taking place, expectations is mounting. People expect performance. Ministers are appointed to ensure agencies reporting to them are delivering on expectations that our people want and our country deserves.
Edson Kuso, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Goroka robberies and Medang Easter operations. Those stories and more. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Supreme Court, under a 3-man bench, refused Paul Paraka's bail application filed on the 11th of December 2023, today at the Waigani Courthouse in Port Moresby.
At the Waigani Supreme Court, the three-man bench of Justice Tolikan, Mogesh and Hita presided over the matter and refused Paraka's bail. This application by Mr. Paraka pending appeal was opposed by the state. An earlier application by Mr. Paraka was refused by Justice Purdon Suli on the 18th of October last year, sitting as the single judge of the Supreme Court. Of all the grounds listed in Paraka's affidavit, the Supreme Court conveniently considered all under 4 headings that includes medical grounds, conditions at Bomana prison, vote of no confidence, and the prospects of success on appeal. The three-man bench considered all of the facts and circumstances raised and did not find that the grounds advanced individually or collectively by Mr. Paraka established exceptional circumstances warranting the grant of bail pending his appeal, and have dismissed the application with the final order that the bail is refused and the amended bail application filed on the 11th of December 2023 is dismissed with a certificate of refusal of bail issued forthwith. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The Bintangor supermarket in Goroka town was robbed on Monday morning by a group of men. Although the amount stolen remains undisclosed, it has been circulated that about 1.5 million kina was stolen. This robbery follows a string of robberies happening among other business houses in Goroka in the past weeks.
According to Eastern Highlands Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Michael Welly, the suspects believed to have fled into the Sisiaka Mountains of Bena in the Ungay Bena district and were pursued by police in Goroka. PPC Welly has confirmed the robbery and is yet to provide a full brief on the incident. One unreported robbery also occurred several weeks ago when a house cry was robbed of almost 5,000 kina in cash by a group of 6 men, 2 armed with homemade guns. Mr. Welly earlier has issued a warning to business owners, including PMV owners and taxi drivers operating in the late hours, to be cautious of their security. He said any suspicious activities must be reported to police on the Eastern Highlands Provincial Police toll-free number 70906666. A warning was also issued to settlers within Goroka town that evictions will be made with the increasing number of petty crimes being committed within the township of Goroka. The PPC also revealed that an incident involving a student from the University of Goroka was attacked and robbed of his belongings recently, and stressed that even his officers can be victims of such violence walking home after work. Natasha Avoy, National EMTV News.
Medang Provincial Police Commander, Acting Superintendent Robert Baim, has unveiled plans for special operations during the Easter long weekend in Medang, emphasizing the holiday's importance for reflection and positive change.
PPC Baim says Easter is a time to celebrate the Saviour's resurrection and a time to sit down and reflect on the kind of life we have lived in the past and change for the better. The police commander stressed the need for attitude change and underscored the importance of respecting one another, upholding the rule of law and honoring the nation's constitution.
I really appreciate the current situation that Medang is going on, and we must maintain the same peaceful situation. I'm not expecting any major incident to be happening, and I'm calling on those would-be perpetrators to refrain from doing so. If they do so, then we will be tough on them. We will get tough on them and get them off, evicted from the province.
He also says police are monitoring the collapsed bridge along the Leh Medang Highway after complaints of harassment of travelling passengers and vehicles by opportunists.
We have the constant patrol from the Ramusuga and Walium doing constant patrol, but you wouldn't expect police to be there at all times. People must use their heads. I'm also calling upon the public to respect one another at this period of time where we are going into the Lent, Easter period. We got to respect one another. And let the normal business as usual flow.
PPC Baim also mentioned that police will monitor black market outlets that are selling alcohol, and those causing disturbances in communities will be dealt with severely. But looking back, he said Madang has improved slowly.
I really appreciate the trend that of current situation that Madang is going through. We are picking up slowly, and we are improving every day. And I'm calling on all the peaceful-minded citizens of Madang to continue maintain that and keep us informed of any illegal activities going on without our watch.
Edson Kuso, National EMTV News.
Now we take a look at the Nest Farm Market Report. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2651 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2576, $0.3915 Australian dollars, 0.2302 euro, 38.72 Japanese yen. And looking at the commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed lower, copper closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading higher, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break with Dataco on internet outage and disasters affect local farmers and more. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. In a response to an unexpected network outage, Dataco, a leading provider in transmission network services, has mobilized its team of expert engineers and technicians to address the disruption swiftly and efficiently.
The outage caused by multiple system failures has affected crucial equipment and connectivity, prompting a dedicated effort to restore services. With an understanding of the critical role connectivity plays in today's digital landscape, Dataco has prioritized the resolution of the issue, aiming to resume normal operations within the day. The outage has underscored the importance of robust network infrastructure and proactive maintenance measures. Updates on the progress of the repair efforts will be provided as the situation develops. James Guken, National EMTV News.
Farmers around PNG affected by natural disasters must be given some consideration by the national government through its assistance relief package. This concern was raised by the Kundiawa Gambog District SME Coordinator, Joyce Moiwo.
Among parties facing losses from the wet season experienced in Papua New Guinea are farmers who work the land to make a living. With the ruin left by Mother Nature, their livelihoods are now threatened as they try to recover from this ordeal. Expressing their dilemma was Mrs. Moiwo, who said tourism and agriculture are the backbone of the country, and many farmers and small tourism operators are badly affected by the recent and even ongoing natural disaster and wants the national government intervention to assist farmers in the SME space. Gambog in the Simbu province alone has a total of 3,253 agriculture farmers and 27 small tourism operators. She acknowledged that funds allocated for the natural disaster recovery and relief package will go towards food ration, medical assistance and infrastructure development. She relayed that with such loss for farmers and other businesses in SME, the national government should have in place assistant relief packages to assist them. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
As the country reflects on the destructions caused by the wet season, calling on authorities to assist with relief, Acting Director for the National Disaster Center, Lucette Mana, reminded everyone of legal responsibilities and procedures in place by the Disaster Management Act, stressing that it is important provinces allocate funds for their provincial disaster officers as they are the first respondent to such provincial crises.
Noting that the Disaster Management Act establishes the National Disaster Office and the Disaster Committee, as well as the Provincial Disaster Office and the Provincial Disaster Committee, Mr. Mana emphasized this.
And the Provincial Disaster Office come under the provincial administration. So whatever budget, operational budget, For the province is basically from the provincial grants.
He stressed that the Act states the province is first respondent for assistance.
The province has to commit some funding and respond first, and when they exhaust all their resources, then they have to come to the National Disaster Center for help.
Crediting Marape, he added that some provinces understand the importance of allocating funds for such needs.
Some provinces, they know the importance of this office or the disaster office, so they are well prepared. When things like that happen, when a disaster occurs, they're the first respondent, and they assist them first, and then they come to us when they need help. So then we help them. But other provinces, they like, especially when they do budget allocation, they don't commit budget under the provincial disaster office.
Recalling a disaster response conference held last year in November, Mr. Mena said this was his advice to the provincial disaster officers.
The national office will not come and do your work. So when they do budget, you have to submit your provincial budget for your disaster office.
Natasha Voy, National, EMTV News.
The National Airport Corporation and the West New Britain Provincial Government have signed a Memorandum of Understanding for the expansion of the Hoskins Airport. The agreement signifies reinforcements of the NAC's commitment to realize the fruition of the Civil Aviation Development Investment Program too.
NAC CEO Dominic Kamu has revealed that upgrading of the Hoskins Airport will continue in the Cardiff Phase 2, which is expected to commence next year. Mr. Kamu elaborated on the works that will be done to the Hoskins Airport under the Cardiff Phase 2 program.
The Cardiff 2, which is expected to commence in year 2025 under Cardiff 2. This airport will have its runway overlaid with asphalt, so that you can bring the big aircraft coming in, 787, A220. A refreshment of the terminal building, installation of airfield lighting, a 60-meter turning node construction.
Kamu added that all these developments are part of the government's investment priorities in Vision 2050 and the Medium-Term Development Plan 3, one of which is to improve all the NAC-owned airports across the country to ensure it meets the international certification standard and contribute to economic sustainability and growth. Mr. Kamu acknowledges all stakeholders and reaffirmed commitment to implement Cardiff Phase 2 plans for Hoskins Airport. Provincial member for West New Britain, Sasindra Mutuveld, expressed gratitude to facilitate the MOU and reaffirms commitment to support NAC. Following the signing, the Works Hoskins Airport Committee discussed 3 options to reroute the current main highway to cater for the extension of the runway. The Working Committee resolved that the NAC will proceed with works on airport upgrade, while the provincial government will look to the road realignment. Sharon Engnui, National, EMTV News.
Shadow Minister for Transport and Civil Aviation, Sam Basil Jr., has expressed concern that the administration and governance of the transport systems needs to be fixed, as the sector is very critical for national development, including economic expansion and growth. This follows research from the Crawford School of Public Policy from the Australian National University, who have been critical towards the Medium-Term Development Plan 4. Mr. Basil Jr. urged for the government to take serious note on ensuring that transport access must be cheap, reliable and affordable.
Mr. Basil Jr. highlighted that the transport sector plays a crucial role towards economic growth, especially with the export of crops and machinery with trading partner. Hence, the appointment to all the boards and the chief executive officer in land, maritime and air transport must come under public scrutiny through the merit-based process of the Public Service Commission. He further stressed that any appointment in the civil aviation industry that includes the 5 organizations must must comply to fit and proper person test as prescribed by the Civil Aviation Act and the requirement of the International Civil Aviation Organization. Basil indicated that in the recent past, the country has observed the political interference in the appointment of the CEO and the Board of National Airports Authority, resulting in the closure of Kiunga and Nazap Aerodrome and the use of notice to airmen and the use of police on airports, resulting in safety issues. He further called on the counterpart Minister for Transport and Civil Aviation to take serious note of the Public Accounts Committee inquiry into Nazap and Kiunga airports and note the recommendations in the report tabled in the National Parliament in December of 2023. Basil said that many ministers are calling for shadow ministers to provide alternative policies, but they are not conforming to the existing policies and processes and keep asking when they are breaking the system and processes and prescribed requirements, and further stated that they must fix the current situation and get good administration and governance system in place to ensure effective service delivery. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Cricket PNG Lewas finished exceptionally in the second one-day international match against Zimbabwe at the Harare Sports Club. Despite losing by 2 wickets against the host, the team performed extremely well through the final score. Coach David Drew said he is happy with the team's performance and is looking forward for the final ODI tomorrow. Cricket PNG has presented the overview of their program for 2024, where they highlighted their junior and domestic cricket program, their upcoming Isuzu T20 Smash, and the international tours for the PNG cricket teams.
They presented the overview in front of their sponsors with the support from Holiday Inn and Suites with Trade-Linked PNG yesterday evening in Port Moresby in a social gathering. The CEO for Cricket PNG, Richard Dunn, indicated that Cricket PNG is dedicated to promote the sport. He added that hosting events like this gives opportunity for people to recognize and support SC PNG. He further elaborated.
And, being able to host an event like this gives us a chance to get in front of a lot of people who, doing it by television advertising or doing it by radio advertising or newspapers is one way, but, word of mouth is always a very, very strong thing, particularly in a country like this. So, the more people we can get to in this kind of environment, hopefully the more support we get. So, being here and being, involved with the TradeLink event means a lot to us.
Mr. Dunn highlighted that PNG cricket teams are ranked on top at the international sporting arena, and it is an opportunity for companies who wish to support the sport.
We are ranked highly on the international stage. And that's a great thing, because that then gives some validity and some credibility to the game in the country as to where it sits on the global stage. So, there's an opportunity for those big sponsors, particularly those that are multinational, to want to get on board and to be able to sell their product into some of the other countries that we go to.
Richard Dunn also highlighted the opportunities that the PNG cricket teams brings to the business communities in PNG through their international tours.
For example, the Lewas and the Barras in the last 2 months have been to India, they've been to Oman, Malaysia, Hong Kong. The Lewas are going to be in Zimbabwe and the UAE. So, you look at UAE and India and those sorts of markets, they're massive markets where potentially countries can do good business in. So from that point of view, we're a really good partner to be associated with.
The Senior Manager for Commercial and Public Relations for Cricket PNG, Alan Moramoro, stressed that CPNG is focusing on raising the profile of cricket in PNG.
The involvement of registered players in cricket around the world is 30 million. So it gives you a scope on what we can build on here in Papua New Guinea and how we can raise the profile and how we can increase programs within the community to make sure that we can filter up to the elite level, which is our national sides. So,
Mr. Moramoro stated that CPNG has set up the junior and domestic cricket program, and also they are preparing for the Isuzu T20 Smash that will kick off on the 29th of March. Louis Maingu, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Cricket PNG announced that they have established the junior and domestic cricket competitions throughout PNG for 2024.
Split the PNG Barramundis into the four.
Mr. Alan Moramoro stressed that the seniors of cricket in PNG are doing great, and therefore CPNG will now focus on developing the young cricket players in their domestic cricket program.
We reintroduced the Malolo cricket program, and what that age covers 13s to 18s. So what we've actually done is those that are participating in the schools program during the term, they have the opportunity to continue playing cricket in the school holidays through the Malolo cricket program. And what that'll do is once they play continuous cricket, they will improve as they continue playing, which then will help them advance into the provincial championships, regional championships, and hopefully get them selected for the national team.
Mr. Moramoro also highlighted the ranking of the senior PNG cricket teams in the international stage.
We have our PNG Barramundis who are ranked 11th out of 89 countries. We have the PNG Lewas who are ranked 11th out of 66 countries. Our captain for the PNG Barramundis, Asad Vala, after the last tour that we played in Hong Kong, is now ranked number 4 in the world out of 100 players as an all-rounder. So the senior side of cricket is in good hands, but now we need to focus on the future of cricket. And the future of cricket is schools cricket and Malolo cricket.
CEO Richard Dunn explained that CPNG is set to have a regional competition for everyone around the country to participate.
So that cricket does become an opportunity for players across the country, not just to have to come into Port Moresby to play in one particular competition. So, you know, our plans in terms of the pathway are to make sure there's junior competitions happening in those places. So creating that pathway and making that really obvious for the kids is something we need to do a lot more hard work on.
Alan Moramoro, while acknowledging the Bank of South Pacific for their support, states that the BSP have been sponsoring the BSP school cricket program since 2010, starting with one province. Fast forward to 2023, they had 350 schools participate in the BSP school cricket program over 11 provinces in PNG. Louis Maingu, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours. For the southern region, Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with brief showers and possible thunderstorms. Daru, partly cloudy with possible brief showers. Kerama, partly cloudy with brief showers. Alotau, some showers and possible thunderstorms. Popondetta, some rain showers and possible thunderstorms. To the Momasa region, Ley City, partly cloudy. Medang, some showers. Wewak, few showers. Vanimo, possible brief showers. To the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, brief showers. KVN, possible brief showers. Kokopon Rabao, few showers. Kimbe and Buka, some rain showers and possible thunderstorms. To the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, partly cloudy with few evening showers possible. Goroka, Buns in Kundiawa, partly cloudy with few showers. Mendi, Tari and Wabeg, few showers and possible thunderstorms. Looking at the small ships forecast, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Darul to Kiwai Islands to Kerama to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samari Islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Samari Island to Cape Vogel and all Milne Bay Islands, seas 1 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Cape Vogel to Huon Gulf to Finchafen, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finchafen through Vitia Strait to Siasi Long Islands, seas 1 to 2 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to West New Britain, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1 meters. Looking at the ocean forecast, cold seas, seas slight, east to southeast winds of 5 to 15 knots. Solomon seas, seas smooth, northwest to west winds of 5 to 10 knots. Bismarck seas, seas smooth, northeast to northwest winds of 5 to 10 knots. Pacific Ocean, seas smooth, northeast to northwest winds of 5 to 10 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sport and weather for Wednesday, the 27th of March, 2024. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.